back to hemophilia. So the point of this project was there's this thing called the Bio Expo, and it's basically when a bunch of students from different parts of Washington get together in Bellevue. Bellevue. And it's this big expo where they have a topic. So my topic is education. I'm teaching you guys about hemophilia. Other people made websites, stuff like that. And then you pick a disease to do yours on. So mine was hemophilia. Why I chose hemophilia just because I needed a mentor and I had no idea who to pick. And my mom went to school with she went to school with a woman who works at Puget Sound Blood Center. She actually works specifically with hemophilia and other blood diseases. So I thought, cool, easy way to find a mentor. So hemophilia or hemophilia, it's spelled like this in the UK. It's a group of inherited blood disorders in which the blood does not clot properly. So has anybody ever gotten a cut or hurt themselves, anything like that? Hopefully you all raise your hand, and if you haven't, kudos to you, knock on wood, nothing happens. But, so a bleeding disorder is when the blood is defective and the coagulation mechanism or the blood platelets, it doesn't clot effectively. So with a hemophiliac, if they get a cut, it takes them longer to heal that cut quickly, so they can bleed for longer periods of time. So usually does anybody have a cat? Usually a cat scratches you and it's bloody for a second, but it doesn't go all over the place. A person who suffers from hemophilia, they'll kind of bleed for a while, and it can get bad. 20,000 people in the U.S. suffered from hemophilia. Oh, you can just tap it. This thing is so cool. So like I said, most people get a cut. The body naturally protects itself using platelets. Platelets fill the hole, or the cut, with chemicals known as clotting factors. There's 12 different kinds of clotting factors, but when one has too little of factor 8 or factor 9 clotting factor, it's called hemophilia, because all those different factors get together and they combine and they stop the bleeding, they make your blood coagulate. So too little of factor 8 is hemophilia A, and too little of factor 9 is hemophilia B. But most cases, most people who have hemophilia A, type A. And because they're missing these clotting factors, it takes hemophilia much longer for the blood to coagulate and heal the wound. History. Hemophilia has been around for a really long time, but nobody really knew what it was exactly. So in the 2nd century AD, when rabbis would circumcise their kids, if it's a boy and it's already had 2 brothers that have already died from circumcision, meaning they've bled a bunch, then they won't circumcise the 3rd one because they recognize that their blood just keeps bleeding and the wound doesn't seal. So effective treatment has only been discovered in the last couple of decades. I hope nobody saw my spit, that just went flying. That was cool. But it's only been effective treatment, which is coagulation. The clotting factor has only been discovered in the past couple of decades. It's spread throughout Europe, and it's nicknamed the royal family disease, or the royal disease, because Queen Victoria suffered from hemophilia, and then she spread it to literally most of Europe. It's actually, I think this next seems a chart. Yeah, so Queen Victoria family tree. Prince Albert, Queen Victoria, married babies, not in that order and stuff. But and then you can see so a part of the royal family was different parts of royal families from different countries would marry to form alliances. So Queen Victoria, she's English. She would send Alice, for example, who did have hemophilia, carrier female. So she carried it to, let's see, these 2 kids were not affected, they were males. This guy she was a carrier female. This guy was an affected male. So, and I don't know if I said this, but hemophilia is hereditary, meaning that you pass it down to your kids. Or there's rare cases where it spontaneously happens, so if the mother is not a carrier, the kid can suddenly have it, but that's really rare. So this is a cool chart I found. And you can see Spanish royalty, Russian royalty, German royalty. Everybody got infected except these guys off to the side. I don't really know who they are, but they look like they're in the clear. How to get hemophilia. It's an X-linked recessive disorder. When I first read that, I had no idea what that means. Do any of you guys? Cool. Sweet, we're on the same level. Well, now I obviously know because I'm giving a presentation on it. But the recessive gene in the X chromosome causes hemophilia. So males are XY, and they suffer from the disease mainly because the Y chromosome, it doesn't affect the phenotype because it's a recessive gene, and it's extremely rare for females to get hemophilia because they're XX. Does that make sense? Nod. Sweet, nodding. Awesome. Cool. This is a family tree. This helps a lot. I'm a visual learner, as Mrs. Tennis knows from experience, but this totally helped me. So we have this guy, we'll call him Bob. Bob does not have hemophilia. We'll call her Sandra. Sandra does have she's the carrier. So there's a 1 out of, let's see, so they make babies. They got married, great honeymoon in Hawaii, all that good stuff. They have one son who's unaffected. He's fine, he doesn't have hemophilia. Then we have a daughter that's fine, she's cool. And then we have a carrier daughter, and then one affected son. So basically 1 out of 4 of your kids will become affected with hemophilia. And I was talking to my mentor, and she says she's known people who, they've had 4 kids and all 4 of them have hemophilia, and others have 0 out of 4 who have hemophilia. But there's always a possibility that one of the daughters is carrying the disease. What if one has hemophilia? So who here plays sports? Like physical activities? Everybody. Watch your butt, I almost fell. Grant. Oh, are you Grant Cuba? Are you related to Ben? That's sweet. That's really cool. Oh, you know, I'm old. That's weird. He probably gets that all the time. Wow, that's weird. Okay, anyways, you look like him. So, Grant, what sport do you play? Baseball? Oh, I called it. Okay, sweet. So with baseball, it's kind of physical activity, right? I was terrible at baseball, I never played. First grade. So you hit the ball, right, and it's causing a lot of, let's see, tension on like your joints and your elbows, right? Yes, sweet, baseball expert. Let's see, and so with a hemophiliac, it's advised for them not to play physical sports, just because they have what they call bleeds in their joints. And there's actually a sweet video with really cool pictures and effects I'll show later, but it explains it. So because they mainly suffer from like the cut, like I was talking about earlier, or they have bleeds in their joints. The most common place for them to bleed is their ankles, knees, and elbows, so no baseball. But they mainly do swimming just because that doesn't cause a lot of their tension. So Grant, since I know your older brother, how would you feel if you couldn't play baseball? Like suck, right? Wouldn't be good. You like baseball? I like baseball. Cool. Very cool. So it wouldn't be good. Like I played football this year. My mentor actually, she said that one of her patients, he wants to play football. He's a senior year, so he's going to a senior year, he needs to play football. And my senior year, it was actually my first year I played football. So, I mean, I could kind of relate to the guy just because, I mean, football is a pretty big sport, and for him not to play it, it'd crush the kid. But he's going to play it, it's very impressive. I couldn't do it. But, so like I said, my mentor, she works for Puget Sound Blood Center, and she works at a summer camp where kids with hemophilia go, and they learn to inject themselves with clotting factors. So I could never inject a needle. I hate needles. I can't do needles. It's bad. That's my mom. So they do a lot of swimming, and they also meet other kids their age with hemophilia. So a lot of kids there, a lot of them are really upset and mad that they have this disease and they can't do anything about it. But then others, they've kind of gotten the fact that they have to live with this disease and there's nothing they can do about it. But a lot of others are really frustrated, and I mean, I would be too. So, in the 1960s, the average lifespan of a patient with hemophilia was 11 years old. There was no treatment, or there was, but very little. Now the average is 10 years less than any unaffected male with proper treatment. But the thing about proper treatment is it's really tricky because a lot of the time the patient can't tell if they're having a bleed or not, and a bleed can severely affect like different joints, and it can really set them back 3 years. So I mean, this is 10 years less than any unaffected male patient is really good. Like if you could live that old when you have hemophilia, that's great. Videos. Can we do this? Mm-hmm. Sweet. So this one, okay. That was cool.
bottom
Bottom,
left.
the bottom left.
There's a little menu, and it'll tell you go back. If you want to go back, it's
You went too far.
Right. Forward. Wow, they all know how this works. That's impressive. All have substitute teachers in here. So then do I?
try double clicking on it. Yep.
She's good too.
They taught me everything I know.
Humble. I like it. Okay, we don't want. Nope, unmute. And the first minute and 37 seconds is pretty lame, so we're just gonna skip that. And then I won't show you all of it just because it's 10 minutes long and it can get boring. Even though you all are fascinated with this subject, am I right? Exactly. Perfect. Happened well.